What is up, guys? EAS Coon 55 here, and I apologize for not making a video in so long. That is because the job I have kind of leaves me with no extra free time to make any videos. But today, you probably already seen by the title and probably the thumbnail, is that we're going to be taking a look at a radio I've had for a long time, and that is my Realistic 12148. I have had this thing for at least, oh god, maybe for 4 or 5 years. So, and it's been a great radio. Actually, it really has. And I've used this thing quite a bit. And I actually say that pretty lightly. I've actually used it a lot and pretty heavily. But it does work really good, still does. And I've had to do nothing to this radio other than the fact that I did have to kind of realign it a little bit, because these type of radios or crystal controlled radio needs have a tendency to drift every so often. It is not drifted by much, but I fixed that problem pretty quick. So it used to have a really long antenna on it. At one time I put this spare Realistic antenna that I got off of a broken one. That's why it helps to keep your antennas. So unfortunately the antenna broke, and how it broke, the top of it just pulled right out of it, and so I couldn't get it back in. So I put this on there just to avoid poking anybody's eyes out or something like that, or getting it stuck where I can't pull it out. So I put this one on there, and it works great still. Time Kube, I really don't think it doesn't matter really at this point, because Time Kube is actually a shortwave frequency. It's a 5, 10, 15 megahertz. So yeah, it's a shortwave frequency. So this antenna, whether it be a 3-foot antenna, it really does not matter with reception, because the antenna is too short anyways of the time nowadays because of solar flux or something like that. So I would have to get like a really long antenna, which I do have, to hook it up to the Time Kube to get it, because it is a shortwave frequency. Now, give or take, I can get this on this regular antenna, this shorter antenna. Yes, I can. I mean, I can demonstrate. See, I can get it, even on the short antenna. But like I said, I've had this radio for a long time, and it's been, a great working radio. And I got it probably in like either 2018 or maybe late 2017. I don't know. I can't remember. But either way, it still works.
Lows in the upper 70s.
Works great still.
South winds 5 north. Afternoon Wednesday, partly sunny.
3-channel only. And there's a time dial, which is this thing. You kind of got to know how to read this thing, otherwise it's kind of complicated. This here's a universal time dial. So if you're listening to WWV or WWVH, wherever you're at, you can actually see the time zones. This thing will spin. You can see here, Atlantic. So for example, I'm going to use my time zone. Excuse me. So if this was to say 12 hours and 32 minutes, you can look on your dial here. 12 hours matches up with 7, and that's on the AM side. And then whatever they say the minutes, 12 hours 32 minutes, and it matches up to the 7, and it would be 7:32. That's how you know how to tell the time on this thing. And if it's standard time, see the 12 moves back an hour. And same thing if you're in mountain time, mountain daylight time, the 12 would be 6 a.m. If it says 6 hours 0 minutes 6 a.m. Same for Pacific time, the 12 moves back even more, be 5 a.m. And I can go back to Hawaiian daylight time, it'd have been 3 a.m. Pretty cool, right? And if I was to go all the way over to Eastern time, it'd have been 8 a.m. Atlantic would have been 9. So pretty cool, right? How this works. So yeah, you see your time zones in either side. If this is a standard time, it'll say what time you're in if you're a standard time, but we're in daylight time, so we're gonna leave it there. So yeah, that's how that works. And then it's also weather radio. Now this is not an alert radio, it's just a regular radio, a regular weather radio. What it says right there, weather radio, Time Kube. And basically Time Kube, like I said before, is a shortwave frequency. It's 5, 10, 15 megahertz. As I do actually have a radio right here. I might save this for another video, but I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about, shortwave. This is AM, FM shortwave. You can see the shortwave frequency here. See the 10, 15, those are all megahertz. So anyway, Panasonic RF 562. It's a really great radio. It's not transistor, but it's pretty great radio. I might have to save this for another video one day. So this radio was actually acting up one day, and I noticed that it really wasn't coming in clear like it normally does, and the reception was god awful. So I was thinking it's the antenna, so I put my long one up to it, my shortwave antenna, which I homemade it, by the way. It's got some wire and measured it, and no difference. So I decided to check the IF cans and kind of tweak them just a little bit. I know it's not the proper way to align a radio, but I've been doing that for years and years and years. At least probably like 6 years I've done that, and I've always gotten away with it, and the radio works just fine. But so what I did, now I only did that IF tuning thing on weather radios because they're much more simpler to do than the regular AM FM radio. With a regular AM FM radio, you want to actually make sure you get a machine and turn it to like for AM, I think it's like 455 kilocycles or kilohertz, and then for FM it's like 10.5 megacycles or megahertz. This, I'm pretty sure, it's probably the same way because this is actually an FM frequency because it is megahertz. But anyway, all I did was turn the main IF can, the IF oscillator, and adjusted it for the drift, so that went back and it made it clear. Then I checked the second IF, like I believe that's another IF in there, and then I made sure that was going to be up on the channel 1 and then the channel 7. Something like that. So anyway, it's back to where it is.
Southeast winds.
And so I won't have to mess with that for a long time again. Time Kube, I didn't have to mess with that. That was perfectly fine. But see, I can't really put it inside. It has to be like at night or something. I have to hook up my antenna, which I don't really want to do. But anyway, so brief little look around the radio. Nothing on this side. There's our volume, our Time Kube setting, 5, 10, 15 megahertz. The back is it won't focus. There it is. 12148. Takes a 9-volt battery. This is from about 1986 minus. So yeah, I just wanted to give like a little preview of how long I've had this radio. It's actually been through some stuff, man. And what I mean by been through some stuff, it's been through the freeze of 2021 that hit Texas. And that was bad. And what I mean by bad, like the whole power stayed out for like it stayed out exactly a week. So yeah, this thing, the battery, I mean, I used it sparingly, but you know what? The battery held out, and it actually lasted the whole week. Of course, I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and listen to weather for like hours and hours. But anyway, I mean, if I wanted to check any latest updates, they give the snowfall reports and stuff like that. Yes. So yeah, I got to give credit to this radio. And then the other one, the 12149, I've had even longer, and it still works great too. But so that is it. That's my little 5-year review of the realistic 12148 that I've had. And like I said, this has actually been a great radio. I recommend getting one. These are pretty nice to have. But one thing you got to keep in mind is that this is an old analog radio, and this is like, it has a tendency to drift over time. That's because naturally this is a crystal controlled radio, and then that's just how these things do. They do that. So very simple to do that. You can probably take it to a radio shop unless you know what you're doing like I do, and you can correct that drift a little bit. But be honest with you, I'd take it to a shop and have them do that instead of messing up your radio. So with that said, the 12148 has actually been a great radio. And it still is. It's still serving its purpose. Now, I might get another one day, and just to keep it as like a collector's item and not really use it very much, but every so often just keep this one as my user, because you can find these pretty readily up on eBay. These are pretty common to get. Same 12149s now, they're a little bit more sparse because those are a little bit more rare models. This one's a little bit more common. But like I said, very good radio. I recommend getting it. And real quick, before I actually get off of here, that this radio is actually, and I apologize for rambling, this thing is actually a transistor radio on the inside. It's got like 9 transistors. They're silicon transistors, so I wouldn't have to worry about those going bad. I mean, those hardly ever do, but they do go bad, but it's not often that they do. But anyway, so I just wanted to give you this little talk about this radio. I apologize it's like this long of a video about this radio, but anyway, so that's the realistic 12148 4 or 5 year review. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more content, and I will try to post some more stuff.